Ever felt those awkward vibes when religion and money come up? You're not alone. Welcome to Yahweh's Money, the podcast where we tackle the crossroads of faith and finance. I'm Shay Cook, an accredited financial counselor and the CEO and founder of Crusaders for Change, LLC.
And I'm Vanessa McNelley, accredited financial counselor and COO of Crusaders for Change. Join us on our journey as we discuss topics like tithing, saving, and conquering debt through religious perspectives. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Yahweh's Money. Hey Vanessa, how are you, beautiful?
I am good, Shay. I'm excited about today.
I know it's a topic that I know you love talking about traveling. You love the travel. I'm envious, y'all, of Vanessa and the amount of travel she does because it's freaking amazing. She goes all over this world, just jet setting and having fun. And I want to be like her when I grow up. But today's episode, we're going to be talking about traveling and should you get your budget or your ball on? I love that topic. So thank the TJ for that. So, hey, jet setters and globe trotters out there, welcome back to this episode. Hopefully it's exciting as we're excited about it today. And we're going to be having fun with, and Vanessa and I are going to be chatting about an age-old debate, which is it better to penny pinch your way through paradise or splurge and bask in luxury? I mean, as I got older, I'm all about that luxurious life. So y'all, so we will navigate the winding roads of budget travel versus the champagne wishes of high-end holidays. Both of us truly have a lot in common when it comes to money habits, but we do travel much differently sometimes. So turn up the volume, settle in, and decide which of us you're going on vacation with. Oh, I love that. That was amazing. Thank you, TJ. So Proverbs 21:20 says, "The wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down." Wow. So such a simple but powerful verse. This verse emphasizes the importance of wise financial planning and stewardship. In this episode, that includes budgeting for travel expenses and not being reckless when spending.
That's a lot, especially with our topic today. And I know you and I differ so much with this. Whether we are going to just splurge and do and see and, have nice things or do it on a budget. And you know that I'm a little different than you as far as travel. And I am definitely a budget traveler. That is something that I have done my entire life. And I feel like the best part of budget traveling is when you set aside money and you know you're going to travel, you can do more when you budget for it. Yes. And if you do it on a budget. So instead of going on one holiday a year, you can go on 2 or 3 if you do it right. And that's the way
true.
I do it.
That's
so
true.
There's lots of ways to travel on a budget and not even feel the impact to your wallet. I know years ago, my ex-husband and I wanted to go to Disney World. And he was like, nope, don't want to do it. Not going to spend the money on it. So my answer to that was, if we can do it without spending a penny, can we go? And 2 months later, we were in Disney World. So there are ways to do this and really enjoy yourself and not feel like you're on a budget, but do it very cost effectively. One of those ways is credit card points. And that is something I think people usually tend to not even think about as an option. But if you have a good credit card and you use your points wisely on things that you actually want versus, using them to, I don't know, people have certain cards where, you can use it at Marriott or you can use it at for Delta. But if you find a card that lets you spend the way you want to spend, it helps you with your budget travel because you're not locked into one airline, you're not locked into one hotel chain, and you can use it how you want to use it. So I always save my credit card points and then I can use those for travel or for gifts for people or whatever. But I just got back from St. Croix last week and I have a friend who lives there. So essentially my trip was free because I used my credit card points to pay for my flight and I stayed with a friend. And I had a full week on a beautiful island. And that's something that a lot of people would spend thousands upon thousands of dollars for. So utilize those points.
I know my points. I do most use cash rewards, so usually I can get gift cards or the cash rewards card. I actually get cash back on my credit card, so that's nice. But on the other, I got a few credit cards that use for travel, but a lot of times I use those for Christmas gifts. So I'll get the
Exactly.
gift cards for that. But I have been looking. I don't put enough on my credit cards to I don't have because I don't travel as much as
Hmm.
Vanessa. Like I said earlier, I'm envious, but I need to look more into that. So for the business, I did get like an American Express that allows that, travel benefits and points. So I'm looking forward to using that for that.
Yeah, but it's a
Yeah.
great way to, to save a little extra. And,
Hmm.
if you do it right, travel can be Christmas gifts. It's a wonderful
Yes,
gift.
exactly. So true.
So, another good tip, and this is really for people who don't have children or they want to
Mm.
travel without their kids. That's the other part of this,
Yeah,
is to
exactly.
travel off peak season. And if you do that and you're really flexible with your dates, you can find some amazing deals if you're not locked into, I have to go the second week of June because that's what we always do, or that's what work tells me I can do. But if you can really just kind of pick and choose when you go, you can save so much money. So that's something that I always do when I'm looking for a place to go is I'll go on Google and I'll put in, a destination where I want to fly to, and then I'll look at all the dates and see the cheapest dates to fly. And I can find usually pretty good deals. I mean, we just went to Europe. Gosh, I guess about 5 or 6 weeks ago, and I was able to find something that you would have loved. A very luxurious first class trip on Delta One, and I got it for just a little bit more than it would have normally cost to fly economy overseas,
Wow.
which was amazing. And that's something I usually do not do. But it was an amazing experience, and it did make travel a whole lot nicer, but that's something if I would have chosen my dates ahead of time that I couldn't have done.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Mhm.
I know, and I would say those with grown children that you don't have to worry about a babysitter and you don't want them to go with you because they're grown now, but they may
Exactly.
still live at home.
Mhm.
So like mine,
Mhm.
um, being able to travel off peak is always great too. I know
Yeah.
my husband and I was at a conference in Orlando and he joined and it was a lot cheaper and it was in November, right
Yeah.
before things. So it was like right after, it was before Thanksgiving. So it was
Yeah.
a little cheaper. But then we usually go in the summer because my husband loves hot weather and he was born in July and our anniversaries are in January, July and August. So I mean, and that's super expensive. It's super hot and tornado weather, hurricane weather and all that. But we just, push through it. But when you can, I totally agree. Those off peak sales and deals
Exactly.
are amazing. Yeah.
Exactly. And if you're a fan of theme parks, why not
Hmm.
go when it's not hot out there?
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, we went one year to Disney World in March because my daughter was down there it was getting for her school and she was marching in the marching band in Disney World, which was super awesome. But it was so cheap. So to go in March
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah,
before
and
spring break too.
right, right. And I remember
Yeah.
as a kid, my mom sometimes, when we knew that there was going to be like a snow day or two,
Hmm.
she had taken me out of school and been like, okay, well, we know you're going to have a couple of days at least. And she would take me to Disney. And it would
Oh
be like
wow.
January, February during snow times.
Hmm.
And we would drive down about, gosh, about 8 hours at that point, and we would stay. And she would call every night just to see if schools were open the next day.
Oh wow.
So, and then if schools were open the next day, we would just leave that next day.
Oh
So
wow.
I would only miss a day of school. But that was back before they really cared about attendance.
Yeah.
So, or did virtual school when you
It's
can't go.
virtual. Exactly.
So that
Exactly.
was something that we always kind of learned growing up is, if you want to go and you want to save money, do it when nobody else is there. Plus,
Hmm.
honestly, I think you have a better time because you're
Yeah.
not competing with other people for all these rides. So it was wonderful doing that. So I'll tell you, I've really enjoyed through my life traveling off peak because you do get to do so much more because you don't have to worry about lines at museums. You don't have
I
to
was
worry
about to
about,
say the
you know,
crowds. Yeah.
right, exactly. It makes it so much easier. So there's so many options with this. And then if you do have a reward program that you use, one of the many things that you get when you stay at a certain hotel chain over and over again is you get upgrades to rooms. You might
Hmm.
get, priority access to certain things because of that. So those are things you can do as well. I know at one point I had to go to Mississippi for 3 months for work. And I stayed in a hotel. and I racked up points after points after points. And then I
Wow.
used those points from my work trip to travel later on. So
Nice.
I was able to save some cash that way. I have another friend who she lived in a Hilton for over a year for work. And I think she said she had about $50,000
Oh, wow.
roughly worth of points to use. So it's
Wow.
made her life a whole lot easier too. So I know that's out of the norm. Most people don't get to do that.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
but take advantage of those reward programs with those type of things. You can also go to discount websites. I know one that I love. I go to Priceline a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I've
Use
always
them.
used, and I'll compare on that website. Then
Mm-hmm.
I'll go to the actual website for the hotel
Mm-hmm.
chain and make sure that it's comparable. And then they have some deals that are kind of blind deals on there.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know where you're staying. You just know the area, you know the rating. Usually you can kind of figure out what hotel it's going to be. But you can save 20-30% just by saying,
Wow.
okay, I know I want to stay in a 4-star hotel, located by the beach, and it has a free breakfast, and they'll give you one of those, but you just don't know until it's actually booked. And that can be kind of exciting too. So
I
I
never
think,
knew that. That's a new
yeah,
one. Oh, wow.
it's a
You're an
great way to
expert on
do it.
this.
It is a
Yeah.
great way to do it. But I think the biggest part of budget travel is you have to be able to put in some time and effort.
Yes.
And you
Mm-hmm.
have to do the research.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely have to do the research. So if you're not willing to sit down and compare 3 different websites or wait over a week's time span to book something, it's going to be a lot harder. And
Yeah.
I think anybody who knows me knows that I am very impatient with travel planning and I want to do it yesterday. But if you go ahead and just start making that plan out and then comparing over the next few days, you'll be able to save a bunch of money.
Yeah, but time
Absolutely.
is money, Vanessa. But I hear you. That's why we're gonna talk about balling out in a
That's
little
true.
bit. So,
It's very true.
so
But I will
time
tell
is
you,
money.
yeah, I am one of those people, this is fun for me.
Yeah, so that's different. If it's fun for you and you get off on that kind of thing, I
Right.
don't. I'd be like,
Right.
okay. I used to be all into the planning and all
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the other part of this too is just planning ahead a little bit too for, are you going to need snacks? Are you going to, need something to eat at the airport? Those type of
Mm-hmm.
things. I've packed, lunches before for the airport. And I know that's a little extreme,
I know.
but
I do snacks. I've never done
yeah, yeah. I mean, I've
lunches.
packed, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, those kind of
She's so
things.
special.
But if you think about it, when you get to the airport and you really have to just buy a wrap sandwich anyway,
Oh
or,
my God, it's so
a
expensive.
water or whatever,
Yeah.
you're saving money on things you're not really going to enjoy anyway. Nobody really
Mm-hmm.
enjoys that gas station sandwich from the airport. It's just something to get you by. So if you can save $25-30 at the airport and just bring something with you, that's $25-30 you can spend on going and having a nice lunch out somewhere that you
That's so
wouldn't have been
true.
able to do. So really it's picking and choosing where you spend versus saying everything I do has to be, homemade,
Mm-hmm.
not do anything fun. Budget travel is not that at all. It's being able to do more on less and
Yeah.
really enjoying those moments, in my opinion. So, the good thing about traveling with this too is a lot of places have free things you can do that are going to be just as much fun or sometimes even more fun than the paid for attractions. A lot of museums overseas are free to go
Mm-hmm.
to, and you can see a lot of cool stuff when you do that. Going and exploring a city on foot, that's always a free thing
It
too.
is.
And you never
Exactly.
know where you're going to just kind of wind around and find yourself. I know one day I was in Stuttgart, Germany, just had a day to kind of do nothing. And I decided just to take a stroll downtown. And I found the coolest, like, museum hidden in the courtyard of a church.
Oh,
Weird
wow.
little thing, free museum, free to get there. And I had the most amazing day just learning about the history of the city that I was in. And it's something I would have never thought of doing. I just stumbled upon it because I was just spending a day walking around. So there's lots of things that you can do and see if you're willing to ask people, hey, what's free to do here? Because
Mm-hmm.
most locals are going to know, and your hotel is
Yeah.
really going to help you out with that too. Also, group travel. I know that's something a lot of people do is they travel with their friend group or they travel with their family. I'll tell you, that's not something I really enjoy.
Me
But you
neither.
can save a lot of money if you split things 2 or 3
Yeah.
or 10 ways. So
Mhm.
there's lots of options to do this and do it in a way that really helps you just save some cash so you can go more
Mhm.
often. That's my thing. The more I save,
Mhm.
the more often I can go and travel and really get out there and just see what's out there. Because I feel like when you do travel in a luxurious way, you're missing the reality of that location. You're
Mm.
missing the beauty of the people there. You're
Mhm.
missing seeing how people really live day to day. And to
Mhm.
me, that is something that I want to experience. I feel like, especially as Americans, we feel like, everybody lives the way we do. But when
Mhm.
you go to some of these poor countries, you can really get out there and see how people live. And I think it
Mhm.
really makes us appreciate what we have more.
It does.
And then some of these places have just amazing sights to see.
Mhm.
And when you go and you see these beautiful creations, it's hard to say, how do I not believe in God? Right?
Yeah.
Because
Amen.
somebody had to create this beautiful waterfall, or somebody had to
Exactly.
create these mountains,
Mhm.
or this beautiful coastline. So, doing these things and really getting out there and just seeing the real raw land and the people there, I
Mhm.
feel like it brings you back to being more present,
Mhm.
and even have those chats and conversations with God about these amazing places He's created.
That's so true. And we're going to talk about that a little later about how we can have it all and appreciate
True.
also budget
Yeah.
traveling and a luxury, but also being able to thank God and be grateful for the beautiful land and the beautiful creations. Because, yeah, I was in Omaha, Nebraska and recently, and we just walked to Iowa across a bridge that was built. I mean, obviously the taxpayers paid for it, but, I didn't have to pay for it at that time. I'm going across there and being able to go literally a mile away was Iowa and be like, oh man, I'm in Iowa. Even though I lived in Omaha and been to Iowa before, but being able to walk and see the Missouri River and all these beautiful creations and statues and museums. And it was just a really cool experience. And like you said, it was no cost to me at that time. So
Yeah.
that was a great experience. So yeah, there's a lot of beauty in America and all over the world that's free, right?
Hmm.
But what about us that likes to ball out? This is more. I'm gonna shame my husband in this moment. I say this is more of Nathaniel, but he always says, "No, that's you, Shay." I'm like, whatever. So I mean, I like to travel nice. I've been on the poorer side of traveling, where you stay in the $50 hotel and the nasty sheets and living that life and bringing food with you. I'm not saying that's not how Vanessa's traveling, right?
No.
She's still
No.
living a good, healthy travel life. It's not, staying out on the street or anything like that.
How
But,
do you know? Maybe I am,
I
Shay.
mean,
I take my tent with me.
so, but it really is. I mean, I was saying earlier, time is money, but balling out and traveling, I mean, it's less stress, quote unquote, if you're, because obviously, if we look at the financial piece of it, people ball out on credit cards and put themselves in debt. And then when they get back from the trip that they had this luxurious, beautiful celebrity time, they're like, oh my God, I can't afford to pay this back. Well, that's a whole nother situation that we'll talk about. But less time is involved in planning, faster, it's more luxurious transportation. I mean, again, my husband and I, when we travel and quote unquote, I have to keep saying that ball out because we ain't staying in a bunch of 5-star. We ain't spending thousands upon thousands on a lot of our trips, but we plan still in that process financially. We're looking at the deals still as well, but yes, some people don't. They just be like, all right, I'm gonna book this trip. I'm going on this $3,000, $4,000 cruise, or I'm going to this island. I'm
Yeah.
gonna stay where Beyonce and them stay, or wherever they stay. I'm gonna pay $10,000, $20,000 to go to Africa. I've heard these conversations with people, because they want the fine dining, they want the unforgettable experiences, the helicopter tours, hot air balloons. They want the safari. They want to be out
Mhm.
there with the lions and the zebras or wherever they are. They want to be in the oceans houses with the little teepee, little houses on the ocean, like
Little
out in
huts.
Tahiti.
Yeah.
Yeah, little huts. I've
Hmm.
seen all of this. People doing this. To me, a lot of those people doing it because they want to, number one, but because they're trying to, flex on social media. So
Agree.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying, people, that's what
Yeah.
it looks like to me. So,
Yeah.
anyways, but I mean, they want the amenities, the cultural immersion. I don't even know. Sometimes they want that. They want to go and stay somewhere like they in America, in another country, like Vanessa saying, instead of enjoying all of the beauty of the country and segregating themselves from that. Oh man, I'm
Yep.
thinking this sounds worse than it really is. But so anyway, so better safety and security, which that's a big thing. You go to certain countries, even in America,
Yeah.
you want to be safe in an area. My husband always say when we stay at a really nice resort, like we
Mm-hmm.
go to Naples or we'll go, like we went to Hawaii. We always, to get to that resort, we're driving through the most poorest areas
Exactly.
of that city, and it's always so sad. So we
Mm-hmm.
always go back out in that city and spend money because we want to be able to contribute to that
Yep.
society or to that environment, whatever.
Exactly.
But it can be definitely an unparalleled service, and you get right, get you, if you're treated right, it can feel like celebrity treatment. But I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
just ran through that, Vanessa, because I was like, even though this is great for balling out, it's I don't know how I feel about this when I say all of this, because even though I like to stay in the luxury places, I like the budget too, but also
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be having debt afterwards.
That's the biggest thing. I feel like there is no problem with really balling out and enjoying a trip if you can afford it and if you paid
Mm,
for it ahead of time.
yeah.
That's the biggest thing I think about this is there is
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong with these things if it's truly within your budget. But I feel
Yeah.
like so many people they feel like this is the only way you can travel and enjoy yourself
Yeah.
is to do it, 5-star all the way. And that's not the case. That's not the case at all. You can do it in a way that is budget friendly and still have an amazing time.
Exactly.
But, you're not going to have the social media pictures that you would have at a 5-star,
You might.
you
You could
know?
fake the funk. You could take a
Yeah.
picture by a pool that you really weren't at. I mean, I don't know. You could do something like that.
Hey,
But
day
I mean, going,
passes. Day
yeah,
passes are
hey, day
wonderful.
passes. Exactly. Right. I mean, but going back to Proverbs 21:20 says the wise, right?
Hmm.
Keyword wise, store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down. So I think there's a
Exactly.
middle ground in between there, between wise and not being too foolish, but having your
Hmm.
fun and still being wise throughout that process.
Exactly.
Yeah, but can we have it all? I mean, me, when I was just talking about balling out, I was kind of making little side notes there about you can't. I mean, I'm all about experiences. As I get
Yeah.
older, and you collect so many things, in the first couple decades of your life. But when you get to the 40s, 50s, and 60s, in my opinion, it's like I don't want to be bringing home a bunch of crap. Like
No.
I used to always want to get a bunch of souvenirs. I always put in a budget for souvenirs. I
Hmm.
always budget for souvenirs. I budget for everything. I still have a spreadsheet. I don't use it much anymore like I used to. But every trip we went on, I planned it down to the dollar. Like food, all
Hmm.
meals, all excursions or side trips or going out into the world, whatever it looked like. And I still have that in my mind now because I've been doing it so long.
Right.
But my souvenir budget has gone down and my experiential budget has gone up.
Right.
Like I want to go out into the local economy and give money. And it usually is so much cheaper anyway to
Oh my
spend out in a
goodness.
local economy.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Or even just think about eating out somewhere. I
Yeah.
have just as much or more fun going to like a kebab stand somewhere and having, equivalent to a $10 lunch as going to a fine dining experience and sitting down with, in my opinion, people who are trying to be better than they really are. Uh,
Oh my God.
right?
Yes.
And that costing 100, $200
Two,
a
three
person,
hundred dollars. Let me tell
right?
you, I have so many experiences at these resorts,
Mm-hmm.
and we always book at the fine dine 5-star place. Spend $200-300 these days,
Yeah.
and then we go to the local place for $20 a person, and the
Mm-hmm.
food is always much better. The
Agree.
atmosphere is all much. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I've been to some fine dine places. I'm like, oh my God, this steak was melting in my
Right.
mouth.
Right.
Oh my God, it was worth $60.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't happen as often as, oh, I got a burger, and this burger or these oysters taste like
Yep.
so amazing. It was only $30 for both of
Right.
us. So my
Yeah.
husband always say, going to the mom and pop places, again,
Mm-hmm.
number one, giving back to local economy. But number
Agree.
two, man, it's just always feels so homey and it's
Mm-hmm.
so good.
And you get to be around people who really live there. And that's the other
Yeah,
part of it. Yes.
exactly.
And you get to really experience the location you're at, whether it's
Hmm.
going to Philly and having a cheesesteak,
Yeah. I
or
still haven't done that.
right, right, or going to Puerto Rico and having,
Mm,
um, mofongo or whatever you
yeah.
want to have there. So there's so many things you can do, and to me, that enhances your travel experience
Mm,
without costing you an arm and a leg.
yeah,
It really, really
exactly.
can. I mean, gosh, I went to a roadside stand in Puerto Rico a few years ago, and the plate of food they gave me for $10, I ate on that for about 4 days.
Oh, wow.
I mean, chicken and rice and plantains, and it was all this just
Oh,
deliciousness.
wow.
So there are ways to do this and have the best of both worlds, like you're saying. You really can do that.
Exactly.
Hmm. You really
Yeah, and
can.
looking for all-inclusive packages or package deals, if on
Yeah.
sale, even better. I haven't done too many of those, but when I have, it was worth
Yeah.
it. I know we went to the Dominican Republic on an all-inclusive package, so
Yep.
being able to be around the resort and all
Hmm.
the food and all the drinks, everything was included. That was nice. But again, we still went out, walked out of the south
Hmm.
side of the resort, walked around the local economy, and got some really cool gifts and stuff out there. I just love going in town. That's my thing. Like
Yep.
anywhere I go, I never want staying on the resort the whole time is ugh. I want to go out and talk to the people, eat with the people,
Yeah.
experience their side of it, and
Right.
they'll, like you say, they'll talk to you like, where are you from? And, all that good stuff and learning about them. Even when I lived in Turkey and Germany, I was always out with the locals.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
Yeah.
want to be around these service members all my life. Like, I want to be outside with the
Yeah.
locals.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
all inclusives are great options. And
Mm-hmm.
there are all inclusives that are not thousands upon thousands of
Not,
dollars.
yeah,
You can
exactly.
find some really good deals with certain companies for an all inclusive package that includes your airfare somewhere. And I
Mm-hmm.
always say, wouldn't you rather do something like that versus like going to the beach in Florida like you do every year? Because honestly, you can do it for the same price or less if you do it
Yeah,
correctly. And you can
that's so
have
true.
this amazing experience that would feel like it's luxurious,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a whole lot less money, and you're getting everything and paying for everything in one little lump sum package.
Yeah.
And with safety issues too, all inclusives are another great option for that too,
Mm.
because there
Mm-hmm.
are a lot of places it's not super safe when you go outside the compound. But all inclusives, they have the security there, and they can take you out and they know where it's safe to go. So there's a lot of good things you can do on more of a budget side, but feel like you're a baller too. That's the other part of
Exactly.
that. Hmm.
Exactly. And there are premium economy flights, last minute seat upgrades, public transportation, stay where
Yeah.
somewhere in walking distance everywhere, and boutique hotels with upscale amenities.
Hmm.
And there's so many different options.
Yeah.
So, like Vanessa was saying earlier, even though, and I was saying time is money, but even if you spend like an hour or two just doing
Yeah.
some real good research, or if your kids are involved, delegate it to them, delegate it to your spouse if that's not what you want, make it a family affair. If you're going by yourself, spend that time to just
Hmm.
do that. You can find some really luxurious or luxury experiences on a budget. I would say that's probably the best of both worlds,
You
right?
really can. And
Yeah.
I fly a lot, and I think you do too. And if
Mhm.
you're able to upgrade your flight for long
Mhm.
flights to premium economy, or, you're able to buy a last minute seat upgrade to business,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, that feels like you are spending $1 million in a lot of ways. But sometimes it could be as cheap as 50 or $60 to upgrade.
Yeah. It
And
really
for
can.
a 7 or 8 hour flight, to have extra leg room and to maybe get like a couple extra snacks and a better, dinner and maybe a couple drinks, it's worth it. It is absolutely worth it. Another trick that I use is I will always pick a bulkhead seat if it's available in economy,
Yeah.
because it gives you more leg room, and you can at least sleep with your legs propped up a little bit when you have a long flight. So there are lots of options. It's just figuring out what works for you and what doesn't. And if you're able to splurge on a few things and then save some money on a few things.
Exactly.
One thing that I do that's one of those kind of compromises is I stay in hostels still,
Mm.
but I do not stay in shared bunk rooms. I can get a better price at a very nice, clean, modern hostel with a private bedroom and a private bath than I can at a hotel that's on the cheaper end. Plus, you meet a lot of people who are super nice. They're friendly. They've been there, done that. They've traveled. They know a lot of tricks. You get a free breakfast. Those are great things. Sometimes they even have like free drinks in the evening or dinner that's included. And why not sit down with people who have, traveled this world and experienced things and have these amazing conversations that otherwise, you'd be stuck with other people who are, doing the same week in Tahiti that you are. So there's
Yeah.
there's great advantages to getting out there, getting out of your comfort zone just a little bit, and really being able to enjoy these times and experiences in our lives.
Exactly. And I believe bringing it back to God, God wants us to experience these things. There should be
Agree.
no shame in going on a budget trip or an expensive trip, And of course, I said Crusaders for Change are here to support you and help you meet those financial goals, and being able to plan and finding for those goals. If you really want to, even if it's a budget trip, even if you have a short budget or a small budget or you have a big budget, we can help you figure that out. So, any final thoughts?
I just say get out there and travel. Instead of buying, whatever new gadget you need want for your house, get out there and see this world, because those things will be memories that you will remember forever and you will cherish them.
So true. And take your phone or a camera and take pictures, because those last longer.
Yeah.
So I always tell my daughter when we're getting rid of something, it's like, we're getting rid of this, take a picture, it lasts longer. Mm-hmm. So yeah, definitely do that. Enjoy that. And thank you for joining us today. A big thank you for listening to this episode. We hope you found today's chat about the intersection of religion and money insightful. We would love to hear your feedback. Hit that subscribe button or follow the podcast. And please feel free to leave us a review.
Yes, and for the latest Yahweh's Money content, visit us at crusaders4change.org or find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. Until next time, stay financially fit and spiritually inspired.
And remember, it's always better Yahweh's way.